All right. Game just wrapped, and I mean, I that's pretty good, right? Like 35-3. You beat the spread by a couple of points. You look relatively in control of the game the whole time. I know it didn't start out the greatest. I know that it was a little bit of a rough start in some regards. I know that there was definitely some sense that we weren't looking as dominant on the front lines as we should have compared to a team like Weber State, which is very obviously a team that should be several tiers below us, even in a down year like this. But there was never any legitimate concern that you were going to lose this game. There was never any real concern that you were going to even have a close game. You just knew you needed to wait, and eventually things would go the right way. So, first, great stream tonight. A lot of people showed up, had a good stream going, got over 100 people at a couple of points, which is good for a early season Huskies game for sure. Now, I know a part of the reason why that may have been is that a lot of people couldn't watch the game because of the Xfinity contractual dispute with showing games on the Big Ten Network in the Washington area. So hopefully that gets resolved. But if you did show up to my stream tonight to get play-by-play because you couldn't watch the game, then I'm going to continue to do this, or at least it's my plan to continue to do this for every Huskies game this year. But great stream tonight. Had a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a pretty good start to the Jed Fisk era. You do see some of the limitations that this team has because the talent levels just dropped off a cliff. Like we had pretty much everything that we needed to have last year to be a complete powerhouse. And you see what happens when those things fade away a little bit. You now have a team where the margins are much thinner. You have a team that cannot threaten the ball down the field the way last year's team could. So everything just becomes a little bit tighter. Everything becomes a little bit harder to get through because it's like the margin of error that you have just goes way down. And I will say, I think that there is some legitimate criticism that you can levy against this defensive line. There were moments where it looked like they were getting pushed around by Weber State's offensive line, and that's something that shouldn't be happening. That's something that needs to not be happening. I need those guys to be winning that battle in the trenches every snap, or else I'm afraid they're going to get completely bullied by the better schools they play. Like when we play Michigan later this year, are they just going to completely plaster us on the line of scrimmage and we're not going to even have a chance because of that? Maybe. I don't know. But overall, the game was as advertised. The offense looked like the offense that I thought we were going to have. Will Rogers, much more conservative and much more of a check down, throw it short, look for the wide open guy, look for the easy throw player than Michael Penix. Penix was a guy who was not afraid to loft the ball up into coverage, knowing that his super talented receivers would go get it, trusting his arm to make really difficult throws. So you see the difference there. And it does take away something from your offense when you don't have that threat anymore. Like a great example would actually be that that one play that should have been an interception where Rogers was trying to fit it in on a 3rd and 10 on like a slant route over the middle, just a little bit past the sticks, and the safety was able to read it. And it was the easiest read in the world because you don't have to worry that much about Rogers throwing the ball 60 yards through the air over your head when you're playing up like that. I think that play was emblematic of some of the frustration of having a quarterback like Rogers when you contrast it with someone like a Michael Penix, who we're all used to, obviously, from these last 2 years. But that was the offense that we were told we were going to have. Short, intermediate throws, scripted throws, stuff over the middle. There were several throws over the middle today, which, I mean, we didn't see that stuff very much with Penix. Penix didn't use the middle of the field hardly at all. So I think that we got what we were told we were going to get. We got great plays from Boston and Jackson at receiver. So even though we lost a ton at that position, it doesn't seem like we're going to be completely deficient this year. I really liked what I saw from both guys. And more important than any of that, I got what I wanted to see from the running game tonight. Because Coleman, Yeah, Coleman looks like he could be like a workhorse for this team. He looks good. He's got great balance. He's got great power. He's got great cutback ability. I'm liking what I see from Coleman right now. And I'm thinking that he might end up being the horse of this offense. And throughout a lot of this season, we might even be a run first team because you've also got Davis. He had a pretty good game. Then you've got Muhammad, who got in at the end of that game and I thought played pretty well. So this may be a run first team, and that's cool. I'm down with that. Also wasn't crazy about the way the offensive line played in this game either. I thought that there were several plays where they just completely blew their block and got Will Rogers almost killed. Just complete brain farts on their part. So, yeah, if we try to become a pass first team, I wonder if we're going to see a lot of that. So, I would not mind seeing this team just embrace the ground game as much as possible because that seems to be where the talent is right now. And defensively, I mean, you only allow 3 points to Weber State. What else are you going to say, right? Their quarterback completed like 10 of 30 passes or something like that. It was bad. He couldn't really get anything going. He had one good throw the whole game in a meaningful moment. Everything else after that was like garbage time. He hit some throws in garbage time, which, good for him, but not really something that I'm personally worried about. The pressure was pretty good. He was, Munoz, pretty escapable, pretty good at escaping pressure, pretty good at getting away from it. So I think he did at least a good job of that, even if he can't throw. But defensively, definitely bend but don't break. I think the legitimate criticism is the physicality on defense because it felt like, especially early, Weber State could kind of run all over us. And while we did eventually start making plays in the backfield, we did eventually tighten up a little bit. They still found success. This was not one of those games where you look at the line of scrimmage and you're like, oh, you can tell who has the 1-star recruits and you can tell who has the 5-star recruits. No, this was a game where you look at it and you go, no, they're legitimately controlling the line of scrimmage at times, and I think that is something of a concern. Other than that, I thought the cornerbacks played really well, made several really good plays on the ball. There would have been an interception if not for kind of a fluky play where the safeties ran into each other. There would have been a couple other turnovers probably, if not for, very, very slight misses here and there. I like what we're doing in our secondary right now. Mostly happy with the way the linebackers attacked. Mostly happy with the way we were able to string running plays out, especially as the game went on. We were able to force plays to the outside, and they weren't able to convert them into anything big for the most part. Yeah, I'd say that was a successful first outing. This isn't a game where you can really prove anything, like I said before. I'm not going to sit here and act like this means we're going to accomplish great things this year, but there's something to build on here. I think that this pass defense should be pretty good. I think that this running game should be pretty good, and I could see the passing game being adequate. I'll put it to you that way. There are too many limitations in this passing game for me to say anything more than that, but I think this team can be good enough to, like I said, the goal is to make a bowl game and win it. This team can do that. But there's going to be tougher competition down the line for sure. So thank you to everybody who showed up to this game. Had fun. Business-like win, I guess. Some people expected a little bit more, but we did beat the spread. So those Vegas guys usually know what's up. They know how to make a spread. So see you guys later. Bow down to Washington. Yeah, 1-0. Start the season 1-0.